This little shed was a shed that existed in Mullumbimby till recently, and all around it there's buildings and modern things, but it's a lovely looking old shed, has a lot of character. So I painted it not as a landscape painting, but I painted it as an architectural painting of the shed, which I think gives it a little bit of honour. With this painting, it's essential to put your brush strokes on deliberately, and you can go back and touch them up, but don't touch them up while you're painting it. Put everything in there and then put the highlights on. This is the coloured shed in Mullumbimby, New South Wales, Australia.
So on the palette I have plenty of white, and I'll slowly add the blue. Now I do want to mix this colour completely because I want to have a very pale blue in the background, but I want it to have the same tone all the way over. So let's mix the colour completely and get our tone of pale blue. That's a little bit pale. That's cerulean blue I'm using there. So we mix it round until we get the pale blue tone I need. There it is. That's it. Then I pick it up with a big brush and just undercoat the board. Not too thick. Rub it all out. Now back to the palette again. I have ultramarine blue, crimson, a little bit of raw sienna. I've disregarded the cerulean blue. I won't use that again. I need two different blues to contrast. Let a little bit of the crimson into the blue, a little bit at a time, and then a little bit of the raw sienna. Not much, just a little bit of raw sienna, and don't mix the colours completely. Maybe a little bit more crimson, give it a warmer glow. And then with the white, two crimson. That's the colour we need. And I'd like to paint the profile here, something like that, in the end of the shed, somewhere here, like that. And later, so if I look at the photograph of the shed, I can see the roof will be fully coloured in there, and the gable, and the back wall is fully coloured in. It's about there, and the shed's a little bit longer than that, about like that, maybe longer still, there, and there's something on the ground there. So I'll take up that area there. All the back wall except one little bit is dark, so we can colour that in. And we'll leave a little bit for that bit of light shining through, and all the gable is coloured in. Like that. Now we're a little bit higher here than we are here. That doesn't matter so much. We'll just leave it like that. Now I've added a few colours to the palette. Burnt sienna, warm red, viridian green, and warm yellow. I'll mix them into the dark, a little bit of each, and we use the others for the grass. I'll pick up the yellow, a little bit of green, a little bit of white, and paint in what would be the grass around the area, just like that. Maybe some here. Then my little hairbrush, load it with this mixture of colours. And we can paint in what would be the foundations for this shed. I see there's posts every 18 inches. Some are brown, some are not brown. And on the back wall there's some boards. We better paint those in rather solid. There they go. There. And then we'll paint our uprights again. So that's the other side wall of the shed. We look up into the roof. There's colour up in there. And there's colour in the back wall. Now on this side there's rusty sheets of tin here. And another one here. And there's another one leaning on it, not quite so straight there. A little brush, we can paint in a shadow there. And on the side of the shed we'll have white on them because they're closer to us. So they're a few boards here. I've got my front joined the back, that's okay. And a few there, and a few up here. A bit like that. And they do need to be a bit lighter. There. There. And there's a few in there. And a few on the bottom. We'll lighten them up. And these ones. We put our tin in again. There's one there. And another one there. And like that. Quite a big sheet of tin laying there like that. And a blue one there. Up against the shed there's half a dozen sheets of tin laying like this. Got a red one laying on the ground there. And then we can paint in our roof. Burnt sienna and white mainly the roof. And down the front. There's a few bits of iron there. We're working with a bigger brush. We can put our shadows in. That's the shadow. We'll make that shadow a little bit more blue. The end of the shed. It's on a great lean. Like that. There. But the gable's straight. Dark. Very dark in there. A shadow. There's lots of junk in there, bits and pieces. Both light and dark. And the side of the old shed is leaning in like that. So we tidy up the side of the shed. It has lots of boards on it. There's all sorts of colours on there. Then we can run some lines up the front of the shed, down there, and this will run down the back. And that'll be the bit. Then place these in place properly, and then go up there, like that, and this one up here. And in the shed we must have more darks. We're back in there, but we do have more mist in there too, because it's quite well back in there. And darken it underneath while it's on the brush. The light, sunlight running up there, sunlight running down there. Give yourself that bit of light on there, give it a bit of character. There's a lot of holes in the side of the shed, so we have planks missing. Things holding the shed up actually, leaning against it. And of course there's all our junk stacked around the side here. Now with the little brush, go back to the other shed, paint it up, across and down this gable. Fill that bit in, that little, and you can put a couple of dark spots where there's things missing. Darken the dark spots into the shed. finish off our gable over here. I've got a post missing here. Along the top of this there'll be a dark line, and let's have some shadows under here. See them there, but there's always something leaning up against a shed. We can add a little bit and make the corner prominent, and add these posts that are missing. There are too many lights on the roof. Let's have some darks and a few dark spots, just a touch of brilliant red colour here. Now on our painting I want to put a piece of masking tape just like that. With a fan brush, load with some bright green and then some yellow, fill it in around the shed, and then a little bit of white across it, and you can turn it into grass. Touch it up in the distance, a bit of grass back here, all around the little shed, grass here and here, disappearing off the picture a little bit like that. But make sure it's dark here. There. A few bright highlights. There. Put a little bit of highlight here and there. A little bit there, here, there. Whatever that is, got a bit of sun shining on it, and down here and there, just to give it a little bit more character. There, and this one the same, bit of colour on the roof, and a bit on this sheet of iron here, and maybe this sheet of iron in here can have a bit more colour. I'll take the masking tape off. And there's a little Mullumbimby shed.